Goskas.
Yes.
Kunjan.
I'm alright. I'm here.
That's good. Welcome to episode 2 of
After the honeymoon.
You see, she's I don't know. Yes.
I'm getting a hang of this. I'm getting a hang of it. It's only episode 2.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to After the Honeymoon, guys. It's the second episode.
And Sundays we don't wear rings.
I don't know where this rule comes from, honestly.
I make them up.
Clearly. Because I don't remember saying this in the vows. That on Sundays we're not going to wear rings.
I smell smoke. I said them silently.
Oh, is it? They don't count. They don't count.
I had my fingers crossed.
Oh, okay. All right.
Welcome. So today our topic is about individualism. So individualism within a union structure. You know, not in general. We all know in general everyone is an individual, but within a unit and within a structure. What is individualism in a union? What is it to you, my love?
Sure. You know, when I knew that we were going to do this topic about individualism, I tried very hard the whole week not to think about it too much because I didn't want to preempt an answer to this question. So, individualism in a union in specific, I think for me, it's being able to be my authentic self without worrying about how you will view me or how you will receive me. You know, I think particularly for me, I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, so I'm always concerned about what other people are going to think of my character, or my personality, or what I'm doing. So individualism for me is about figuring out who I am in my most comfortable moments with my partner, but also obviously the balancing, not trying to make my partner uncomfortable also with my individualism, and acknowledging that I don't live alone. I'm peeling edwa in this house. I have another person that I am living with. So trying to balance having me time, and also not just having me time, but allowing you as well to have your time. Because there are moments sometimes where our times clash, where I maybe just want to hang out with you the whole day and look at you deep inside the pupils of your eyes. But you just want to do your own thing at that moment. You want to have your me time. You want to watch some soccer or whatever. And I'm just like, I want us to be together right now. So it's learning how to, what's the word? It's learning how to have my boundaries while allowing the other person also to have their boundaries.
That's a very detailed explanation.
I know. I remember. I had to stop myself halfway. I'm like, okay, you're doing too much.
No, not at all. I mean, no, not at all. You should go the whole 9.
So what is it for you, babe?
For me, it's within our union is celebrating the individual for being the individual. So what I mean by that is, of course, there are, as individuals, you adjust We've adjusted to getting to work around, or like to coexist within the same space, coming from different backgrounds. It's not something that happens overnight. So it's celebrating that this individual has these strengths, and this individual has these strengths, and this individual has these weaknesses, and this individual has these weaknesses, and merging those two to become a better individual together.
Yes.
So I don't know if that is it's making sense, but
It makes perfect sense.
yes. So in that, for me, is individualism, because we've also got kids, right? So our kids are now becoming part of what I'm speaking of. Like, they're also becoming part of the individualism within the household. So it's to celebrate them as individuals. I mean, they're still trying to get to know themselves. I mean, that's a lifetime thing. They're very young. Excuse me. They're very young. So the part of them that is, and as and when they're growing up and they discovering things, and they discovering this and that about themselves, about the house, about us, about life as a whole, it also adjusts our individualism. So the celebration of individualism is what I chose a while ago, as it's something that's going to work better for us. Because if I don't celebrate it, then I'm always going to be frustrated by things that I feel don't align, and that is me being an individual, myself, and pushing my own agenda. I'm pedantic about this. I'm whatever about that and that and that, and that causes me to become like a hardball, and then no one else can flourish as an individual, because let's say I'm a strong character, and I'm challenging everything that other individuals in my space are doing outside of the things that I would like to see as an individual being done. I know I was long-winded, but that's what it is for me.
No, you're spot on there with your explanation. I think you also touched on something that I didn't necessarily think about, but now that I think about it, a lot of the times as partners, we are so focused on being right, or that your way is the right way. And sometimes when we do that, we fail to see that actually, if we just work together, your strengths and my strengths then can come together and create something magical for the relationship and for the household. Where I fall short, you can come in probably and fill that gap. And it goes to many things. It goes even as far as like gender roles. I think a lot of the times we are so focused on gender roles in a negative way. For instance, you cook well, but obviously I know that I'm the better cook. And which means then it makes logical sense that on most days I will be the one that's cooking the most. And it's not to say that there's times where I'm just like, I'm not at where I don't feel like I'm tired. I don't feel like cooking. Yes, in general I enjoy cooking, but there's times where I'm just like, I don't want to feel like it's a chore. Like I have to be doing this every day, And in those moments, sometimes I do feel frustrated, and I might not say anything, but it's like, oh, now I have to cook, and I'm tired. I don't want to do this. But and it has nothing to do with you, necessarily, because I know, like, for instance, if I if I say, babe, can you make us breakfast? Or if you're making breakfast, you'll make for me as well. Or if you may be making a lunch, you'll make for both of us, you know. So it's not that you don't cook or you don't, you know, chip in there. But it just makes sense. The way that we do it, it just makes sense that I'm the one who does the cooking most of the time. Because I know there's in other ways that you are contributing more than I am, you know. And so it helps to balance the household out, you know. You doing this, I'm doing that, or I can't do this, you can do that, you know. It really helps to balance things out a little bit, you know. And sometimes when I am feeling a little frustrated or tired or whatever, I think back at that, and I think back at the fact that we're not fighting against each other. It's not a competition of who's doing more, or how many times did I cook, how many times have you cooked, you know, how many times did you buy bread, how many times did I buy bread. No, it's about being able to balance each other out, and the one person being able to pick up this where there's slack, or the other person being able to add more there, you know. So you're so right by saying, you know, it when you figure out what each of your strengths and weaknesses are, you can put it together to, you know, mesh that and make it work as best as you can.
Yeah. It just you shy away from focusing on the things that won't grow you guys.
Yeah.
You know, so like we all have flaws, you know, and some of them are entrenched, like within our character, and they'll take time, if not a lifetime, to get over. You know, but they don't determine the happiness that you are trying to create or build. You know, this is what we would generally call red flags. But I think, and this is in inverted commas, and I'm saying that because why would something that doesn't resonate with you and is not something that is necessarily a red flag? Yes, it's a red flag to you, but it's something that ngatini, like, you can work through it. You know, a example, like, what was a red flag for you before we got married, or whilst we were starting our relationship, like the first couple of years? What was a red flag for you that is still a red flag? Or what was a red flag, as well as what was...
If it was a red flag still, I wouldn't be here.
You know, precisely. So this is proving my point that, okay, what was a red flag that is now null and void, is not a red flag no more, that we've worked through, we've spoken about. I can pick up one that we got
I'm
over.
interested in knowing which one is this one.
No, not yours. Mine. One of mine.
I
Remember how I used to be when it comes to money. When I never had money.
Yeah.
You know, I would go into this slump and,
Yes.
you know, close the curtains and not make the bed and not shower for days. And then I'd get money and I'd be like, yeah, I'm alive again. Let's open the curtains, let's play some music.
Yes.
You know, and that you didn't really care about, you were still there, you know. And even though we weren't living together at the time, you spoke to me about it. And I had to look deep within. Is she right? Do you still remember that conversation?
I remember it like it was yesterday because, and I'll tell you why I remember it, is because I remember thinking to myself, if even after I've had a conversation with this guy about this and he doesn't change, I'm out, because I can't do this like this. And yes, it didn't change completely overnight, but I saw the willingness to change, and I saw you begin to open up, that when you were going through like a financial slump, you would kind of be open about it, even if you wouldn't come outright and say, hey, right now I'm like a little broke, and but you would be more open about it. And that's why I stayed, because I saw the willingness for you to try and change and improve on that. So yeah, I honestly remember that conversation like it was yesterday. And I just remember telling you that you obviously didn't say what was happening, but I could tell. And I just remember, obviously having the conversation, and like I said, it was a pivotal conversation for us in our relationship, I feel, because I just knew that if things didn't change after this, that I couldn't stay and do this, because you would pull away. Very sharply. Like, I wouldn't hear from you for days. Or when I would try and speak to you, just be kind of cold. And so I was like, I don't want to feel like that, because financial difficulties happen everywhere, all the time, to everyone, And I just felt like, if this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life, that every time there's like some kind of a financial slump in the household, that he's depressed, he's cold, he's pushing me away, I can't do that. I can't compete with money like that, So I just knew that I'm not going to do that if it doesn't change.
Yeah, a big shout out to you for that, because that was very pivotal for us, like crucially, because we're here now, open about money, like, and it's no thing. Money really is no thing. We could have 1 million rand or 1,000 rand,
and you still be the same old husband.
And it was though that conversation. If that conversation didn't happen, you would still be seeing me jolly with an animal.
Yes.
and then like cold, and like he's broke.
Yes.
And I don't think it's fair. How would I be behaving towards the kids?
Yeah.
How do I behave? Now I'm like, I don't want to take the kids to the shops. I don't want to go buy bread with our son because he's going to pull jelly tots in the aisle.
Yes.
And I'm going to be like, hi, man.
Yeah.
Talking stories.
Now you're being toxic because you don't have money.
You know what I mean? So it's a big shout out. And these are the things that your partner or you have contributed to me to grow, and it's a big shout out for that.
Yeah. No, it definitely. And I think with even with myself, I had like a funny relationship with money, and it's still working through it, and that for me comes from trauma from home, unfortunately, we grew up with a mom who kind of, I think even herself didn't understand that money is just a commodity. It's a nice to have and a comfortable to have. It's not what relationships are made out of. It's not. And unfortunately, she then was the type of person who would buy love and affection. And also treat people accordingly depending on how much money they have, or how much money she perceived the people had.
So status.
Yes.
So I could walk up, I could get your spot smelling like $1 million.
Yeah.
And wearing a nice timepiece.
Yeah.
And freshly cut, shaved, beard. Looking prim and proper with 10 rand in my account.
100%.
And I'll be perceived as...
You would be respected.
This is the person that you need to mess with.
100%, you know. And so even with us as kids, she kind of, as we grew older and grew into our own people and adults, unfortunately, she'd kind of pit us together as siblings, you know, like, oh, this sibling is the one that's doing better and this sibling is the one that's not doing as great, and kind of treat us accordingly, you know. So then it meant that automatically I was also in a space where I felt like if I didn't have money, or if I didn't have enough money, that I'm not worthy, or that I'm like baggage, or, you know, useless, to be blunt. You know, and that affected me also in the relationship. And like I said, I'm still working through that, because there's times where, like, for instance, there's a bill that we have, or a certain expense that comes up, and now I'm like, I'm not able to assist my husband with this, and sometimes I feel like I don't have the funds right now to assist my husband, and I feel useless, because I'm like, I'm leaving my husband to figure this out by himself. And in those times, like, I draw back into like my shell, and you almost feel like internally, I almost feel like I can't even say anything. I don't have a say right now in this household, because I can't even assist my husband with a certain bill or a certain expense, which is wrong, you know. It's very wrong, and I know that also affects you, you know, because if I'm feeling some type of way, I'm pretty sure you can tell that I'm feeling some type of way, and it's not cool, you know. It creates unnecessary tension. But I do know, obviously, like you said, it's gotten way better. Like, we're now able to, and I think the way that I've been helping myself to overcome it is by the fact that we're so open about finances now.
It's the only way.
Yes, like, I'm able to, even if in that moment I feel very icky and horrible for the fact that I don't have money at that time, but I say it anyways. I push through and I say it anyways, because I know that it's the only way that I'm going to get over these feelings, or this type of feeling, you know. And it's helped. It really, really has helped, and it's helping me to get over it, you know, just get over myself. And to be very honest, it can create like a very self-centered way of thinking. If everything, when something happens in the household, if it's like about you, it shifts now. The focus doesn't shift to, let's try and see if we can sort this bill out. Now it shifts, and now it's now focused on you. Yes. Because you feel so crappy. Yes. And you feeling sorry for yourself, and, you know, going into a little dark corner and closing the curtains and like, oh, woe is me. You know, it's almost selfish, kind of, in a way, to be very honest, because you already, like, there's a certain issue that you're dealing with that is the center of this, but now then you take yourself and you make yourself the center of that problem, and shifts the focus from the actual problem, which is not fair.
I would like to touch on like along that line of what you're speaking of, because individualism does not mean that you can't be selfish.
Yes.
Right. So it's a balance of what you're selfish about and when. Unfortunately, like you said, I don't stay alone. You don't stay alone. So it's difficult to just plug out.
Yes.
You know, you still need to parent. You still need to partner. You still need to manage, because essentially the house needs to be managed. Correct? You know, we're living with a live-in nanny. You still need to be observant and vigilant, because at the end of the day, should you like slowly plug out of being part of the home, then you're not going to be clued up about the things that you deem create a home,
Yes.
right? So when do you, how do you, how have you found a balance of, I'm asking you because it's been tougher for you, because we laugh about it, but you guys, women, have put us men in the pooper, and have said that men sit in the pooper for long because
You do.
that's the only time, that's their me time, and no one, because the kids don't follow us to the pooper, but they follow you to the pooper.
Yeah.
So how have you found like a balance of being selfish? Because you can't keep pouring and pouring and pouring. You need to be poured in as well. So how do you find it? Share, please do share like some of the things that maybe I might not be privy to, which could assist other mothers out there.
If I'm being very honest, social media has been a big factor in how I've been able to deal. Because, social media, yes, has its cons, but it really also has pros, because you take this huge world and you bring everyone so much closer to one another, and people are, you in your house, you're having conversations with people you never thought you would, and you are having almost subliminal conversations as well, because even if you're not having like a one-on-one with someone, when you're watching a mother's TikTok video or a wife's TikTok video, you're literally watching and you're going, yes, me too. I don't know, everyone else does that, And it's, those things have really helped me to realize how much we are literally all going through almost exactly the same things. We are all sharing this similar human experience as human beings, as moms, as dads as well. Like, all of these things are so similar. And it helps in the sense that I'm able to give myself grace when I'm in a moment where, for instance, my son has called me mommy 1,000 times in that day. He asks for water and then doesn't want to drink it and sips it and spits it on the floor. He says he wants to eat, and then you warm up his food, and then he says, I don't want to eat. And you're trying to potty train, and there's your daughter at the side also who doesn't want to be put down. It can get very overwhelming, and then there's moments where it catches you where you're just like, I'm not okay. I don't feel like dealing with this right now. I'm overwhelmed. I'm touched out. And you just want to say to your kids, don't touch me, because you've touched me way too much today. And in those moments when I feel like I need a break and I need to go away for a bit and go into another room or go outside and breathe, I'm able to give myself grace now for that. Whereas before, I would feel very guilty, because also, unfortunately, society in historical times has kind of, you put pressure on females, have put pressure on mothers to kind of be superheroes and be superhuman. And if you're not able to do something or you're not coping, then something's wrong with you. There really hasn't been any open dialogue about what it really means to be a wife, what it really means to be a mom, what it really means to be a colleague in a space, sometimes in a lot of work environments that are very patriarchal, you know. How do you navigate that and still have to put a smile on your face every day, and then when you don't smile, you're labeled as being moody or, it's not easy, but and though I'm, like I said, I'm giving myself grace more often for needing to have me time. And we're fortunate that we have a live-in nanny. So
Yes.
I have the option to, if I'm coming back from work, for instance, and I'm just tired and I need like a break. I have the option to be like, hey, I'm going to be in my room for a bit, Cece. Can you just, watch the kids? I just need like an hour. Or please, can you make sure that none of the kids come into my room at least for an hour, because I just need some time. We are very fortunate. So yeah, I think those are really the ways that I've managed, and I'm also starting to get more and more into self-care. I'm trying to do things for myself that feel good, and without feeling guilty about, maybe for instance, spending money on myself. I'm trying more and more to be okay with splurging on myself. And sometimes not even splurging. Sometimes like you buy like one pair of shoe and you feel so guilty, like, oh, I've wasted money. But you deserve it. And it's the same for men. I see what you go through, babe. It's a lot. And I do believe we don't give husbands and fathers enough credit, because I see, and let me be clear, present fathers and present husbands, because you know how they always say, like, the only reason why it's hard to be a parent is because you're actually a present parent.
Yeah.
And that's so true for you as well. Like, you're very present. And so being a present parent is tough. Being a present partner is tough at times. Because going back to, the individualism, sometimes you just want to plug out a bit and just have some me time. And sometimes in the moment, it's like your partner needs something from you, and you have to kind of try and meet halfway, meet in the middle. Yeah.
Whew. The partner needing something from you, and you literally don't want
Yeah.
nothing. Like, you don't want, like, leave
leave me alone, please, right now.
And you obviously not gonna be like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
We didn't work towards being cold.
Yeah.
You'll have your way. You can see what, okay, she needs, even though subconsciously you take offense, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, okay, so whatever it is that you'll allude or assume, but it's not even about you at that time.
But even that, the taking offense is part of you having to check yourself.
Yes, it's
as the partner.
Yes.
Like, I know that this doesn't feel nice, but it's not about me.
Yes, it's understanding.
Yeah.
Here's the example. It's when you have our daughter in your arms, and I want to take her, and she doesn't want to. It's not about me. She feels comfortable in that space at the time.
Yes.
She doesn't love you any less.
Yes.
So
100%.
that I think that's the example. I want to touch on, whilst we're speaking about this topic, I want to touch on, like, as an individual, I've got my own life, right? Or rather, let's say I had my own life.
Yes.
Because, obviously our lives get integrated. And I'm saying our lives get integrated because you now automatically become friends with my friends as partners. And, vice versa. And
Ooh.
how does it, like, between you and I've got more people that I can socialize with, or do guys whatever with more than you do. How does that, like, I think, was there ever a time when you were envious, if you over it, for instance, that I've got more of a quote unquote active social life, and I can ngabangena, love, ngizokubona sabangena sisayo, and you never like, babe, siyabangena sisayo. Do you have was there ever like a, damn, this nigga always, doing his thing out there, and that's shia like nothing, or young shia, I mean, why doesn't he take me with, or whatever the case may be? What is it how does that affect the unionship, like subconsciously? Because obviously there's certain things that you might not raise because you might feel like they're not valid, or they're not fair, or whatever it is that you would feel, I shouldn't be raising this. There's nothing wrong that is happening here. It's just me being me, or me feeling like me, or whatever the case may be. You wanting to live under my skin, right? Yes, you banter about it, right? When let's say I'm going out with the guys for the day, and then I come back and I tell you about it, and I had a time of my life. And how does it feel that let's say you've been home, let's say you didn't do the same, and you've been home with the kids, and they've messed you around the whole day, and it's the nanny's weekend off, and it's my weekend off. I'm not working that weekend, but I decide to. Obviously, it wouldn't be impromptu. 9 out of 10 times, it's not impromptu.
Yeah.
It's just the life that we're living now, because we plan things, etc. How does it? I wanna touch on that. Like, I want you to get into that.
Phew. Oh my God, like, wow, there's so much I could say about this, but
please,
I
why
don't
we have
even
this
know
platform.
where to start. Oh my God, so much of what you said like touched a nerve. There's so many things that you asked. There were so many questions in there that I wanted to answer. So I'm gonna try and get into everything that you said. Do I feel jealous? I don't feel jealous, but I do feel envious.
Yeah.
Yes. They definitely are. And it's weird for me because I used to be a very sociable person in my early 20s,
Damn.
What? What was that about?
Yeah. You walked straight into it. I just had to Kevin Hodge.
Oh, wow. I'm not that old. My gosh. So yeah, in my early 20s, I used to go out a lot. I used to, be quite the socialite, to be very honest. And yeah, life changed, obviously. And it didn't I won't say it changed because of kids, because I just became a hermit years before the kids came. For certain reasons that I only realized recently, in the recent years, obviously. But nonetheless, I did just become a hermit. And so basically, like, I'm always in the house. I don't like go out with anyone, barely have friends around anymore. I'm just a lone ranger, So yeah, so they definitely, a lot of the times I do, like, when you go out with your friends, or sometimes you like on a call for long with like a long-term friend of yours. You.
Oh, me, yes.
Yes.
I was about to say.
You'll be like on like an hour call with one of your friends, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I wish I could talk to someone this long, I wish I could, and I'm happy for you. Like, I genuinely am happy for you that you have that. I could only dream of having, a friend that I've known since like school, that I'm still tight with today, or friends, or group of friends that I'm still tight with today from like the beginning of high school or whatever, So I'm really, like, I'm happy you have that. because I see how great that brotherhood is for you and how amazing it is. And it's really, and obviously you have the right kind of people also around you. Well, most of them were the right kind of people.
Yeah.
So it's great, but I do get envious, particularly like you mentioned, when obviously Nanny's away for the weekend. I'm tired, I've had a long week at work, and I also just want to unwind and relax. And maybe, and it's not even necessarily that I want to go out. Maybe a lot of the times, honestly, I just want to sit here and binge watch something like on Netflix or whatever. I just want to binge watch something without having my name called 1,000 times a day, without having to change diapers the whole day, bathing the kids, feeding the kids, putting the kids to sleep, those kinds of things. I also want to be me. And this then goes back to individualism, in terms of, I feel like since becoming a parent, I've lost a lot of my individualism. And it sucks sometimes to think about that. I've lost a big chunk of who I am, or lost sight of that person, of the things that I used to do so many. I used to make jewelry, I used to write songs, poetry, this, that, I loved to sew and all that stuff. I can't do that. On a regular weekend, I cannot do that. I cannot sit and cut fabric and put beads together to try and make necklaces or bracelets, because I know that the moment I open my bead box, the kids are going to put their fingers inside and try and get inside, or I'm going to have to get up to go make food for someone or go change a diaper or this or that. And by the time I'm done doing that, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything, So let's, put a scenario in place. Now, the nanny's away, I'm at home with the kids. You also have a weekend where you're not working, and on that weekend you go and you hang out with the boys. Sharp. I'm happy for you. I really am.
Not the whole weekend. Right? Not the whole weekend.
No,
just
not. No, of course not. Not the whole weekend. You are, and I appreciate about you, that you are mindful. Even when you do go out, you are mindful. Of. You're not out until 6 a.m. the next day, or you don't come home or whatever. You're still mindful of the fact that you have a partner, you have kids, you have a family.
Yeah.
So yeah, you going out, I'm happy for you. That's great. I'm unhappy for myself. And it's also having to just realize that having a difficult time doesn't have to constitute a crisis in your life, or it doesn't have to be like that always, because like you said, sometimes you're not doing anything wrong. You're going out and you're having a good time with your friends. You deserve that. That's how you get your me time at times. That's how you enjoy yourself. That's part of your self-care, is going out and being social, because you generally are a sociable person. It's not your fault that my wind down and me time happens to be in the house watching series or watching horror movies the whole weekend, And so naturally, if I'm in the house, I'm obviously here with the kids if the nanny's away.
Yeah.
But incidentally, then I end up not actually having that me time because I'm here with the kids. And there's no break. I think anyone who has kids knows or will tell you, there's really no breaks when you have kids, especially kids who are under 5.
Yeah,
you have 2 kids under the age of 5.
No breaks.
There's no breaks.
Yes.
And so sometimes by the time you do get home, I am at my wit's end. I'm frustrated. I want to jump through the ceiling. I've had it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes that might come across maybe as though I'm upset that you were out or whatever. And it really has nothing to do with you, and you have done nothing wrong. And I'm
Thank
perfectly
goodness.
fine.
Now I know
And I'm perfectly
that when
fine.
I come home and I've had one or two to drink and I'm happy, and I walk into the house and my wife is like Dragon Ball Z times 10.
Oh my word,
It
no.
is not me. Who has activated you, wifey? Is it child A or child B? Most of the time the answer is both them niggas.
Yes, both of them. So yeah, like, and once again, it goes back to checking yourself, you know, regulating yourself, that I can have a conversation with you and say, and also a big thing for me is I also want you to believe me when I say I'm fine, I'm just tired. Because there's times where I'm just like, I actually, right now, my me time is that I don't want to talk. I've been shouting at the kids the whole day. I've been saying, don't do this, don't do that. I've been babbling with these kids back and forth the whole damn day. And sometimes by the time you're back and you're like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing's wrong. I'm just tired. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to get into a shower and get into bed or pour a drink or whatever, you know. And I don't want you to overthink it. You know, don't overthink it. I'm just tired. That's it. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I've had enough. I'm glad. I really am happy you had a great time, but I didn't. And like, I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not your fault also though.
And how does that, how has that affected you? Like, you know, like you said, you used to be very sociable in your early 20s. And you transitioned, you became a mom, a partner, you know, building a household, building a legacy requires sacrifices. But within those sacrifices, it also requires a balance of you being you and doing you when you want to do you outside of the home.
Yes.
Right? You don't want to do you alone. You don't want to do you, with me all the time. How has that affected the friendships that you've garnered over the years, and you making, like, taking the steps to work on those?
I'll go back to the fact that there is a reason why I ended up being a hermit. You know, unfortunate reasons that go back to trauma from childhood and young adult, you know, which has made me a hermit, ultimately, unfortunately. So I'm trying to get out of that. But unfortunately, in the process, I feel like I haven't put myself out as much as I wish I could.
Yeah.
I haven't garnered relationships as much as I would love to. Like, I would love to, you know, reach out more to people that are dear to my heart. And it almost upsets me sometimes, because it's like, I wish that the people that I do have some friendships with, or I'm building friendships with, actually knew how much I cherish them or how much I love them. But I don't let them know enough because I don't reach out enough. And it has nothing to do with them. It's just me trying to find myself again and rebuild myself. And sometimes I just feel like I feel like a ridiculous human being, you know, and who would want to hang out with me, you know. And so sometimes those negative self-talks in my mind are what stops me from reaching out to people, which is something obviously that I'm working with or trying to deal with. And I think sometimes that's also where a bit of the frustration comes from, internally. It's that, yes, I do love sitting at home and watching a good movie or binge watching a series, but I don't want to be doing that all the time. There are times, I'll have, and it's maybe like, I can count it on one hand, maybe like 4 or 5 times in a year, where randomly on a Friday, maybe after work, I'll just feel like, you know what, this would have actually been a great time to go out, where I just feel like I want to go out. I want to see people. I want to go out and have a drink with people. But then I get too much in my head, and then I don't reach out to people because I feel like I'll be bothering people, or they probably have better things to do, or hanging out with their other friends.
Is this not rejection? There's no rejection here somewhere?
I think it does play a role. I had a friend who I considered to be a best friend, who I was friends with for 14 years, who ghosted me on the week of my dad's funeral. And I've never heard from them ever again. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I was ghosted. And
yeah, but there's a pattern. There's been a pattern, people that disappear in your life. Like, there's been a pattern. And this is a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Not today, because we're just wrapping it up. But how many times have you said that to me? They just changed, or they just disappeared, or they just what happened? Who did they get in touch with?
Well, that is a story for another day.
Yes.
Because I think only very recently I've kind of realized that, oh man, I was so blind and I didn't see what was happening right underneath my nose.
Yeah.
Which obviously then explains a lot for me. And ironically, ever since I've separated myself, no one has ghosted me. So, but unfortunately, it does affect you mentally, because you feel a sense of rejection when people ghost you, and so it becomes even harder then to try and connect with people, because you're afraid of being rejected again, but I am trying to work on it, because like I said, I do have those random moments where I'm just like, I do want to go out today, even if it's not a late night, but I do want to go out. I want to go have a drink. I want to, just be spontaneous. But also you find that maybe it unfortunately is a weekend where the nanny's now gone and I don't have that option of going out, and then maybe...
You have the option to invite.
Yeah, for sure. But also in the same breath, sometimes it's just like, I don't want to invite someone and be around my kids still. I want to be detached from my kids. I don't want to feel like I'm still a mom in this moment. I want to go out and be a free agent outside.
Free agent, ganjani?
Not in that sense, but
Hey.
I just want to go out. I don't want to be in my home environment.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I really do understand. Whew, it's there's so much to like the balance, trying to find a balance between yourself and your union and making it work. And it's very important that balance is very crucial, because at the end of the day, it's going to be 10 years later and you're going to be very envious.
Yep.
Which your partner has like these great friendships and he's built these relationships, or she's built these relationships, and I've just been sitting there raising the kids. And that time, no one said don't.
Yeah.
100%. No one said don't make your efforts, etc., etc.
Yeah, there's many times you've said, hey, why don't you call a friend up, or organize a lunch, organize a girls' trip, something,
Because I don't want it to get to that. I would like for us not to be 50 and you're like, yeah, well, I was raising the kids. And I'm like, ow. Guys, you know what I mean? I
don't talk like that.
Yes, you don't, but I'm just saying, envy is a very thin line.
Yeah.
You know, to
100%.
to get on the other side sometimes is not within your control.
Yeah, because
And
it
you-
very
you-
easily creates resentment. I
And you
wake
rea-
up 20 years from now and I resent you.
Yes, and you like actually, Lumutulona, he lived and I
And I was
raised
a
the kids.
hermit.
You become quote unquote a baby mama.
Oh my gosh.
You know the bit of baby mamas that blame men
Yeah.
for, you know, I couldn't live my life, you lived yours, I carried the baby, etc., 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 etc. You know, there's also a disclaimer,
Yeah.
and I realized this a while ago, but it was a hard pill to swallow. Best friend, you know how I always say I don't have a best friend.
Yes.
It's my realization. Best friend is best friend to you. That person that's saying best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't expect, if you say I'm your best friend, don't expect me to say, oh, you're my best friend too.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't take offense, because now that is, it's borderline, what's the word I'm looking for? Not toxic?
Obsessive.
Yes. Oh, she's my best friend, he's my best friend. No?
Now you feel like you own people. And then that's when you like jealous when someone is tight with someone else. Because you're
A.
like, but that's my best friend.
A. B, when people do their own thing. Like we're grown now.
Yes.
We've made decisions that we do not want to involve even our closest of people, because it's how we want to move. And now you're sitting there with the best friend tag, and now we decide to get married and we don't tell nobody. And then you wake up and we're married and you're angry.
Yeah.
Because now you feel entitled to, I must
To
report to
every
you.
part of my life.
So I must sit here and do a budget with my wife, and then I must call my best friend. Yeah, we did our budget, so this is what it's looking like.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's something that we as individuals need to be wary of, and not like, I know it's great, it's a primary high school thing, but as and when we grow, it's very crucial to be able to determine like the lines, because it does create like enemies.
Expectations also, yeah.
Yes.
And obviously I also realized as I got older, you know, that I don't think something called a best friend exists necessarily. Because different friends are good for different reasons. There's a friend maybe that might be great to go out with, but gives you terrible advice. And the other friend gives you amazing advice, but when you go out with them, they're like sitting in a corner, acting like a nun. You know, it's friends are very complex and come in all shapes and sorts and sizes, you know, and
Some for seasons.
yes, some friends are for seasons. You know, I had a friend very recently who had a big fallout with, who I'd known, I think, for 2 years. And we had a big fallout. And in the heat of the moment, obviously, I was angry and I was, you know, upset and, you know. But literally, I think a few minutes after that, you know, I realized that she's not wrong, I'm not wrong. We just view things differently. And because we came together for a specific reason, and that reason has now run its course, clearly, and we can now separate. And I can look back at the friendship and say, I gained from you, you gained from me. We were there for each other in trying times. You know, you were there to talk with when I needed you, and vice versa. And that relationship served that reason, and it was great while it lasted.
Yeah.
You know, I cannot look back and say that was a waste of my 2 years. You know, it was a necessary relationship, but obviously it got to a point where we were now growing in different directions, and the season for it had ended. And that is perfectly fine.
Yeah. Oh, time flies.
It does.
I mean, we already at the end of our episode 2.
Yes.
And I'd like to introduce, I mean, we did this last week, but I'd like to officially introduce like 2 features that I'd like us to, or one feature, but As we wrap up, what is our topic for our next episode?
What is our topic for our next episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. You're putting me on the spot. I didn't think about this before.
As you can hear, the mommies have already started.
Yeah.
So perfect timing.
Yes.
Okay, it's fine.
I don't know. I didn't think about it before now. So I don't know. Maybe we can speak. I actually know it's a very controversial one. No, it's fine.
Yeah, that's the one. What is it? I want to know. What is it?
In-laws.
In-laws, yes. Okay. Our next episode is in-laws. Our topic for episode 3 is in-laws. Stay tuned. Please like and subscribe. After the honeymoon, please follow us on our social medias, on all social media platforms. And in closing, what's your song of the week?
My song of the week.
Yes.
You are just hitting me with these questions that... Yo.
My song of the week is Mpo.wave. Charles, is it Charles Lyrics? Yes, I think it's Charles Lyrics. That's the name of the song.
My song of the week is... It's not a new song. It's an old song. But... It's Spirit. I think it's by Uncle Son or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Spirit. That's my song of the week.
Shout out. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in.
Till next time. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.